If you have a Volkswagen, I'm talking to you today. Like all y'all's air-cooled guys, I'm talking to you. So this can apply to everybody. So today we're gonna talk about nuts, okay? And not just any nuts, we're gonna talk about exhaust nuts, okay? So I just kind of wanted to go through a few of the different options out there and just explain what I like and why I like it and the other options for what other people like, right? So first, we're just gonna start right here. Standard nut is an 8mm nut, right? Standard, regular, old-fashioned nut. In a pinch, you can use these sometimes. We've all done it. It's soft, it's kind of threads and stuff. Not the ideal exhaust nut. The next one over is a nylock locking nut, right? You've seen these, right? They've got nylon inside. Can you see it? Inside of them. With an exhaust system, the nylon's just gonna melt and it's not gonna be a locking nut anymore. So you really don't want to use nylocks on these. So there are some types of locking nuts that you can use, and they're a couple different ones. I've only got one of the ones right now. They're called top locks or center locks, okay? And what they do, and I'm really hoping that you'll be able to see this. I'll try to hold it really close. Can you see it up there? Okay. Now, these threads are kind of distorted in here. So when you put this nut on, it's gonna kind of feel like you're putting a metric nut on a standard thread. It's gonna kind of be grindy. These are a one-time only use nut. They're not really good on your threads and stuff. This one is also, like all of these, the two that I mentioned before and this one, they all are, you use a 13mm ratchet or open end wrench on it, okay? So these are really good for exhaust, one-time use only. You're kind of limited to taking them on and off and stuff, okay? The next best option, and these are the ones that we kind of see more often, is a copper-coated lock nut, okay? Now, I don't know if you can see this. This is actually kind of the top lock. You can kind of see it, okay? I don't know if you can see, well, maybe you can see it, and I can see through that. It's got a little slot in it, and what they do is they kind of deform the top, right? It's still a steel nut, it's coated with copper. They kind of deform the top as they're doing it, so you get some threads on there, and then it starts to lock a little bit. These grip okay, are really common on VWs. They take a 12mm wrench, so it gives you a little bit of extra room in there, right? So, and it's copper coated, so it resists rusting, right? Which is kind of a big problem when you're heating something up on an exhaust system. Resist rust, okay? The next one is better at resisting rust, right? Is a completely brass nut, okay? Now the brass nuts, they take 11mm ratchet or open end wrench or whatever, box end. Okay, so they're smaller there, so you can get even tighter space in them. They also, it's brass, so it's a softer metal than steel. So they give you, they're taller, right? See the difference between the two, right? Standard nut right here, the brass one. They're taller, so there's more threads to grip. They don't have any locking provision in them, but they're pretty good. They're commonly used also. They're also used on intakes, and all of this stuff can be used on intakes, right? So 11mm, brass, taller threads. You can get a little more torque to taller threads and they won't strip out, right? The next one is it's still kind of tall. Let's see if you can see this one. And I'm gonna hold them all up at the very end here. This, I don't know if you can see it or not. A lot of times these shots come out blurry, and we'll see if we can see them or not. Anyway, it's a 12-point nut. Now, this is a hardened steel 12-point nut. It's good, you can put a lot of torque on it. The problem is, when you're dealing with J-tubes and aftermarket exhaust, a lot of times, and you've run into this, right, if you've done this for a while, you can't get an open end wrench in there to tighten it up. Now these are 10mm, so they're even smaller than the 11, 12, 13, right? So good choice there, but you have to use 12 points on it, right? You have to use 12 points, which means if you get this in there on like a Sidewinder exhaust, you can't get the wrench out. You can't get the box end of it in there, right? To get it back out because the tube comes around too close. So when you're dealing with bigger diameter exhausts, especially on performance motor, any VW exhaust, it's a lot nicer to have a smaller wrench size. Now, here's the cat's meow, right? The last one here, this is the nut I use on everything, okay? 10 millimeter hex, right? It's hardened steel. You will literally bend your open end wrench if you put enough torque on it before you round this nut out. Now, this nut is cool for the hex end, so you can get open end on it or box end on it. And what makes this really, really cool, it's got serrations in it. Can you see them? I'm hoping you can see that, man. I'm hoping you can. If not, you go to our website. I'll probably post a link to this one anyway. This is the nut. It's also lower profile, super low profile, so you can get it in there. That 1 5/8, 1 3/4, 2-inch exhaust. You can get this nut in there. It's got a nice big fat flange on it. This is the real deal. I'm hoping this comes out too. I want to take a picture, just a side view of all of these. Can you see the difference in the height of the nuts, right? All right. One more thing. Well, you see, when you're doing exhaust, okay, we use anti-seize, the permutation. You see how we've used this a lot. We're almost out, finally, after years, right? It smells good, too. Use anti-seize on all the studs. That keeps them, well, it does anti-seize, right? It keeps them from seizing when you're removing them. Because someday you're going to take that exhaust off, and when you have steel nut on a steel stud, it can get nasty. Anti-seize will help with that, right? Are we nuts? Are we educated on our nuts now? Good. Go do something else this weekend and have a good weekend.